Have you ever felt like every time you try to move forward, something stands in your way? You make a plan, but life changes it. You work hard, but the result is not what you expected. You take one step forward, and suddenly something pulls you 2 steps back. And then you start looking around. Other people seem to be moving faster. Other people seem to have easier roads. Other people seem to get chances that never come to you. Slowly, a painful question begins to grow inside your mind. Why is my path so difficult? Why does life keep testing me? Why can't things be easy for once? But what if the obstacle in front of you is not there to end your journey? What if it is there to change the kind of person you become on the journey? What if the road is not blocked because life is against you, but because life is trying to teach you a strength that comfort could never teach? My name is Xylos, and in today's story, we are going to learn a powerful lesson about life. A lesson about how the obstacles we fear the most can sometimes become the reason we grow, change, and discover the strength we never knew we had. So stay until the end, because the biggest obstacle in this story was not the storm, the loss, or the broken workshop. The biggest obstacle was hidden inside Adrian's own mind. Adrian lived in a small coastal town in Portugal, near the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. The town was beautiful, but life there was not easy. Most people worked hard just to survive. Some were fishermen, some worked in small shops, and some left for bigger cities to chase better opportunities. Adrian had a dream. He did not want to spend his whole life complaining about what he did not have. He wanted to build something meaningful. He wanted to open a small workshop where he could make handmade furniture and sell it across Europe. He had skill in his hands and hope in his heart. Every morning, he woke up early. He helped his father at the harbor, then spent the rest of the day learning, cutting wood, repairing old chairs, and designing tables from leftover material. People liked his work, but they did not believe in his dream. Some laughed and said, "Adrian, people from small towns don't build big futures." Others said, "Be practical. Dreams are expensive." At first, Adrian ignored them. He saved money. He bought better tools. He rented a small place near the old market and started his workshop. For a few months, things looked hopeful. Customers came. Orders increased. Adrian began to believe that maybe, finally, life was opening a door for him. But then the first obstacle came. A big order from a hotel in Spain was canceled at the last moment. Adrian had already bought the wood. He had already spent his savings. The customer disappeared, and Adrian was left with debt. He felt embarrassed, but he did not stop. He worked harder. Then the second obstacle came. A supplier sent him poor quality material, and several customers complained. Some people in town started saying, "See, we told you." He wanted to become too big too fast. Their words hurt him more than the money he lost. Because money can be earned again. But when people laugh at your dream, they can make you doubt your own heart. Still, Adrian tried again. Then came the third obstacle. His closest friend, the one who promised to help him sell his furniture online, left the business without warning and took some of Adrian's best designs with him. That broke something inside Adrian. For the first time, he did not feel angry. He felt empty. He closed his workshop for 3 days. He sat inside, staring at the unfinished table in front of him, asking himself the same question again and again. Maybe they were right. Maybe this dream was never meant for me. One evening, Adrian walked toward the cliffs outside the town. The wind was strong. The sea was loud. Waves crashed against the rocks as if the whole world was speaking in anger. There, he saw an old woman sitting on a wooden bench, looking at the ocean. Her name was Sophia. People in the town respected her. She had lived through war, poverty, loss, and loneliness. but she always carried a peaceful smile. Sophia looked at Adrian and said, "You walk like someone carrying a heavy stone in his chest." Adrian gave a tired smile and said, "Maybe I am." Sophia moved slightly and gave him space to sit. For a while, neither of them spoke. Then Adrian said, "I tried to build something. I really tried. But every time I take one step, life puts something in front of me. I am tired of fighting obstacles." Sophia looked at the sea and asked, "Do you see those waves?" Adrian nodded. She said, "They have been hitting these rocks for many years. But look carefully. The rocks are still standing, and the waves are still moving. Neither of them has given up their nature." Adrian said, "But I am not a rock. I am tired." Sophia smiled gently. No one becomes strong because life is easy. People become strong because they learn what to do when life is not easy. Adrian stayed quiet. Sophia picked up a small piece of driftwood lying near the bench. "This wood was probably broken from a tree," she said. "Then the sea carried it, pushed it, turned it, and threw it against rocks. But now look at it. Smooth, shaped, different. The sea did not only damage it, the sea also shaped it." Adrian looked at the wood in her hand. Sophia continued, "Your obstacles are doing the same thing to you, but you are only looking at what they take from you. You are not looking at what they are shaping inside you." Adrian lowered his eyes. He wanted to believe her. "But pain makes wisdom difficult to accept." He asked, "Then why does it feel like I am losing?" Sophia answered, "Because you think the goal is to reach success without scars. But sometimes the scars are proof that you became strong enough to hold success." That night, Adrian went home with those words in his mind. The next morning, he opened his workshop again. But this time, something was different. Before, every problem made him ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Now he started asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" When the hotel canceled the order, he learned not to depend on one customer. When the supplier cheated him, he learned to check quality before trusting promises. When his friend betrayed him, he learned that not everyone who walks beside you is walking with you. Slowly, Adrian stopped seeing obstacles as signs to quit. He started seeing them as lessons he had paid for with pain. Months passed. His work became better. His mind became calmer. His choices became wiser. He no longer told everyone about his plans. He worked quietly, he built carefully, he listened more and reacted less. And then, after a long time, his workshop started growing again. A small cafe in France ordered tables from him. A family in Germany bought handmade chairs. A designer from Amsterdam shared his work online. For the first time, Adrian felt proud. Not because everything was perfect, but because he had not stopped. But life had one more lesson waiting for him. One winter morning, a heavy storm hit the coast. The wind was stronger than anyone expected. Rain entered the old market area. Several shops were damaged. When Adrian reached his workshop, his heart almost stopped. Water had entered inside. Some finished pieces were ruined. Tools were damaged. Wood was soaked. The place he had rebuilt with patience looked broken again. He stood at the door for a long time. People gathered outside. Some felt sorry for him. Some whispered that this was too much. Some believed this would finally end his dream. Adrian walked inside slowly. He touched one of the ruined tables. The wood had bent from the water. For a moment, his old fear returned. This is the end. But then he remembered Sophia's words. The sea does not only damage, it also shapes. He took a deep breath. The next day, he did not close the workshop. He cleaned it. People were surprised. A neighbor asked, "Adrian, after so much loss, how can you still continue?" Adrian looked at the damaged room and said, "Because the storm destroyed my work, not my hands. It damaged my tools, not my skill. It touched my workshop, not the person I became while building it." Those words spread through the town, and something unexpected happened. People who once doubted him began to help. One man brought old tools. Another helped repair the roof. A woman from the market shared his story online. His damaged furniture became part of a new collection. He called it the Storm Collection. Each piece had marks. Each piece had history. Each piece looked imperfect but beautiful, and that became Adrian's identity. People did not buy his furniture only because it was useful. They bought it because it carried a story of breaking, surviving, and becoming stronger. Years later, Adrian opened a bigger workshop. He trained young people from small towns. He taught them how to work with wood, but more importantly, he taught them how to work with failure. One day, a young boy asked him, "What was the biggest obstacle in your journey?" Adrian smiled. He did not say debt. He did not say betrayal. He did not say the storm. He said, "The biggest obstacle was the moment I started believing that every obstacle was proof I should stop." Then he looked at the boy and said, "Problems will come. That is not in your control. But the meaning you give to those problems is in your control. One meaning can break you. Another meaning can build you." And this is the lesson of Adrian's story. Many people are not defeated by obstacles. They are defeated by the story they tell themselves about obstacles. One person sees rejection and says, "I am not good enough." Another person sees rejection and says, "I need to improve." One person sees delay and says, "Life is against me." Another person sees delay and says, "Maybe I am being prepared." One person sees failure and says, "This is the end." Another person sees failure and says, "This is information." The obstacle may be the same, but the response creates a different future. Think about a river. When a stone stands in its way, the river does not stop forever. It bends, it moves around it, it finds another path. And over time, even the stone begins to change. Life is the same. You may not be able to remove every obstacle from your path, but you can become the kind of person who keeps moving anyway. Maybe what you are facing right now is not punishment. Maybe it is preparation. Maybe the closed door is protecting you from a room that was never meant for you. Maybe the delay is giving you time to become ready. Maybe the failure is teaching you something success would have hidden from you. And maybe the thing you are calling an obstacle today will one day become the reason you understand your own strength. Now, as a narrator, I personally believe this is one of the hardest truths to accept in life. Because when we are suffering, we do not want lessons. We want relief. We want the pain to end. We want the road to become clear. But sometimes, looking back, we realize that the moments we hated the most were the moments that changed us the most. Not because the pain was good, but because we found strength inside it. So if you are facing a difficult season right now, do not judge your future by today's struggle. You are not behind. You are being shaped. You are not finished. You are still becoming. Keep walking, even if the road is not easy. Keep learning, even if the lesson is painful. Keep believing, even if your belief is small. Because sometimes progress is not about running fast. Sometimes progress is simply refusing to turn back. If this story gave you a new way to see your obstacles, share it with someone who needs strength today. And if you want more simple English stories with powerful life lessons, subscribe to the channel. And if you have not watched my previous story yet, I recommend you watch The Man Who Gave Himself 30 Quiet Minutes Every Night. That story teaches a powerful lesson about silence, self-reflection, and how a few quiet minutes every night can change the direction of your life. See you in the next story.